So good evening everyone. So how is everyone? कैसे हैं आप सभी लोग? बढ़िया. चलिए तो आज we are going to discuss this part of mains question of science. Like this here, the question which has been asked in examination. 4 questions were there. If you don't count energy as part of it, then 4 questions were there from science and tech. So let us first see the questions which are there, and then we will come to discuss about this part. When there is a question like this, how you have to write the answer also. Because when we talk about the question in science, there is one thing which we see. If you're having the content, most of you are writing it. Question is simple, but the answer cannot be that much simple. You have to be some creative. You have to bring some creativity in writing the answer. So first, let us see the questions which are there. One is, explain by giving 2 examples how biotechnology has helped the Indian farmers in processing their perishable crops. So this was the first question. Second question was this, distinguish between a fast breeder reactor and a thermal nuclear reactor. In the context of first indigenously developed prototype FBR at Kalpakkam, explain the term criticality. And what are its implications for clean energy future of our country? So this is the second question. Third question is this, that mention salient features of mission Drishti. Discuss the imaging technique used in the satellite launched on 3rd May 2026. Why it is being considered world's first satellite of its kind. And it was in 250 words, that you have to write this in 250 words. And the fourth question was this, what is agentic AI? Explain its working, describe its application with suitable examples, discuss the advantages, risks and challenges associated with this AI system. So there is multiple dimension of this question. इसमें 5-6 चीजें एक साथ पूछ ली गई है. So what we see that these 4 questions were there. ये 4 question है. We will come to this part one by one. How we have to approach this, how we have to write the answer of this. Okay. Now, those who have done foundation classes, in your foundation class, we have discussed about this one thing. In your class notes, you will find this one thing, like I think in Karolbagh, in some of the online batches, in one of the Prayagraj batch, we have discussed this part, that the application of biotechnology. So this year in Prayagraj, prior to that in Karolbagh, and also there in multiple online batches. And you all may have got the similar thing, same notes, that what is the application of biotech? It is for the harvest time. In similar manner, there was notes also on sowing period, crop cycle, every part. What is the application of biotech in our agriculture? So there also you will see that multiple such things were there, how we are using it. You are not having just 1 or 2 examples. You are having around 7-8 examples of how to manage the perishable goods. So that is something which we have got in our notes in the foundation classes also, especially about this. क्योंकि हम लोगों ने पहले भी देखा है कि when the question is there in biotech or any other thing about the application, it is a specific question. ऐसा नहीं कि बस ऊपर ऊपर से पूछ लिया कि what is the use of biotech. It is going to be a specific कि how it is helping in sowing season, how it is going to help during the crop cycle, how it is going to help in managing the post-harvest things. Okay. So what we see here, that in the case of this question again, it was saying, explain by giving 2 examples how biotechnology has helped the Indian farmers in processing their perishable crops. ये क्वेश्चन आया. Now suppose if we have to write the answer of it, so the number 1 question is, what we are going to write in the introduction. This is the major part, like what we are going to write in the introduction. Okay. Now see, question is asking about whom? Indian farmers. Okay. So you have to mention that. You have to mention about the agriculture, that how much people are dependent how much people are dependent, and how biotechnology can be a savior for them. So no one is asking you the definition of biotechnology here. कि biotechnology क्या है? They are not asking you the definition of this one thing, that what is biotech. So what you can start with, you can start with this one part, that the proportion of farmers in India, like we see that around more than 50% are still employed in agriculture. More than 50% of the population is still employed in agriculture. Okay. And India is also being the largest producer of fruits and vegetables. Perishable goods ज़्यादातर कौन से होते हैं? Fruits and vegetables. It's not that it's not that the paddy or wheat is perishable in just 1 month or 2 months. Paddy and wheat can survive for multiple months also. It can survive for multiple months also. So what we see that first part you can give is that India has got around 55% of its population, or more than 50% of its population engaged in agriculture, and also is one of the, or also the largest producer of fruits and vegetables in the world. In this context, the biotechnology becomes very important in protecting or helping the farmers for perishable crops. So this is what you can write in the introduction. Right? Start with some fact, start with some context. Okay. So this is one of the part, how we have to use it. Now, it is asking directly how biotechnology has helped it. Okay. And you have to give example. So you have multiple options, like we have discussed 7-8 answers, 7-8 different things. One of the option can be that you can talk about antisense RNA, which helps in this antisense RNA, which helps in slowing down the ripening process. It helps in slowing down the ripening process. Ripening process. You can mention about this that we can have use of multiple such RNA interference. इसको पूरा लिखने से means पूरा लिखने में क्या करेंगे कि we will say that there is one thing called as RNA interference technology. In RNA interference technology, we have the potential to change the various metabolic activities of any of the crop or any of the product. So if we are introducing the RNA interference technology, we can stop the metabolism. We can stop when we are talking about this RNA interference technology. What we see that using the RNA interference technology, we can stop the working or the metabolism of different food products or vegetables. So this is one of the part which can be done here in the RNA interference part. Okay. Second thing is, we can also have other thing. ये तो एक example है जिसको आप explain कर सकते हो. Second part can be about this one thing, that we can have different layers of biofilms, or we can create biofilms or layers over it, which can again protect it from getting perished. Okay. Like, just to give you one thing, there are edible wraps. We are also seeing that there are edible wraps. These edible wraps can protect the goods, and at the same time they can also help in reducing the fermentation of the food items or reducing the ripening of the food items. तो इसको भी आप mention कर सकते हो. In fact, in this you will find multiple such examples are there. देखो, there is one thing, enzymatic aids. Now here we are having pectinase and cellulose, which can help in higher recovery and clarity. Then we can have this chain part also. इसको रहने दो, दूसरा लिखो. We can have biological control of storage rods like trichoderma and pseudomonas to reduce blue-green mold in citrus and apple stores in Himachal and Jammu and Kashmir. We can have edible biopolymer which can extend the shelf life like mango, guava, lychee and others. They have been prepared by ICAR and other organizations for this purpose. Okay. So what we see that you have multiple examples in this, that how we can conserve our food items. How we can conserve our food items in post-harvest stage. So first of all, what you have to do, in this question, you have to give the introduction. After giving the introduction, you have to talk about how biotechnology is going to help them. Okay. Now, one more important thing. देखो, यहाँ पे आपको दो ही एग्जाम्पल पूछा जा रहा है. ठीक है, यहां पे आपको दो ही एग्जाम्पल पूछा जा रहा है कि एक्सप्लेन बाय गिविंग टू एग्जाम्पल्स हाउ बायोटेक्नोलॉजी हैज हेल्प्ड द इंडियन फार्मर्स. तो दो एग्जाम्पल तो आप सीधा सीधा पूरा नाम लेकर मेंशन करोगे. लाइक सपोज वी हैव मेंशन हियर अबाउट आरएनए इंटरफेरेंस और एडिबल बायोपॉलीमर्स which can enhance the shelf life. Now after this part, it's not कि आपका दो में ही आंसर खत्म हो जाएगा. You have to add some more. You don't give the example, but you can add more thing that how it can help in preserving our edible items. कि कैसे help कर सकता है in saving or preserving our edible items. Okay. तो this is one thing. You can make multiple flow charts here. अच्छा, एक और चीज देखना कि what we do when we are writing the answer, we have to also make sure that we are using some of the flow charts or diagram to represent it. जैसे एग्जाम्पल के तौर पे what you can do here, you can represent it like this कि we are having RNA interference. ठीक है, RNA interference, we are applying it, we are modifying this the metabolic process. ठीक है, तो बेसिकली द थिंग इज यू हैव टू एक्सप्लेन द चेन ऑफ इवेंट्स. आपको चेन ऑफ इवेंट्स को बताना पड़ेगा कि आरएनए इंटरफेरेंस टेक्नोलॉजी गोज इनसाइड द फ्रूट्स और द वेजिटेबल्स. दे आर मॉडिफाइंग द प्रोटीन प्रोडक्शन इनसाइड इट, एंड बाय डूइंग इट दे आर स्लोइंग डाउन द रेट ऑफ डीकम्पोजिशन और द रेट ऑफ मेटाबोलिज्म. तो जब भी आप बनाओ साइंस टेक का, साइंस एंड टेक में आपको क्या पूछता है कि हाउ इट इज डूइंग सो. इट इज नॉट आस्किंग यू डिस्कस, एनालाइज और अदर थिंग्स. अगर हाउ पूछ रहा है, इट मींस इट इज आस्किंग यू द प्रोसेस. एंड वेन एवर देर इज अ क्वेश्चन ऑन द प्रोसेस, यू हैव टू एक्सप्लेन इट विद द हेल्प ऑफ अ फ्लो चार्ट्स. यू हैव टू एक्सप्लेन इट विद हेल्प ऑफ फ्लो चार्ट. इतना सिंपल क्वेश्चन पूछा है, आप सिंपल आंसर लिख के चले आओगे, क्यों आपको मार्क्स देगा? दो एग्जाम्पल तो कोई भी लिख ही देगा ना. So you have to give something extra in there. You have to add certain flow charts, especially in case of science. आगे भी हम लोग क्वेश्चन देखेंगे. There also we will see that it is required that we have to add flow charts, diagram in these questions. Okay. Now see. Now the question is asking only about this part, ki how it has helped the Indian farmers. If you want, although it is not required directly, if you want, you can highlight some of the challenges. कि awareness is low, implementation is low. Okay. कि awareness and implementation is on the lower level. Okay. The actual application of this is on the lower level. So you can mention some of the challenging part. You can mention the challenge part, that what is the challenge in this. Like there is a lack of information. There is a lack of information. There is also this one thing, awareness. There is like access to tools. So these are certain challenges which we see. कि इसको आप mention कर सकते हो कि what are the challenges, and then in the conclusion part you can give the suggestion कि we can take this to the block level, that with the help of ICAR, with the help of other institution, we can take it to the block level, and from there it can be provided to the farmers. That we need to implement this at panchayat level and block level so that it can reach the farmers. तो ये एक पार्ट है जिसको आपको इसको आंसर में मेंशन करना है. फर्स्ट इंट्रोडक्शन, गिव द हिंट अबाउट हाउ मेनी फार्मर्स आर देयर, प्लस India is the largest producer of the perishable goods. Then the second part, give certain examples. You have around 8 to 10 examples. You will get the PDF of this session. तो वहां से आप examples लिख लेना कि all the examples related to this. Okay. Now, at the same time, let's come to the second question now. distinguish between a fast breeder reactor and a thermal nuclear reactor. This was one of the most common topic. क्यों common topic था? Why it was common topic? Like why this year the question has been asked. ये क्यों पूछा गया? इसी साल क्यों पूछा गया? नहीं, war is one part of it. There are multiple reasons behind this. First thing is India has announced a policy. India has announced a policy that we are going to have 100 gigawatt of nuclear energy. That was one reason. Second reason was this, that the Kalpakkam fast breeder reactor, it has achieved criticality. Okay. तो अभी हाल फिलहाल में it has achieved criticality. That was the second reason. The question on this was just because of this part, that FBR at Kalpakkam, this has attained criticality. This has attained criticality. So that's why what we see that this question was there on fast breeder reactor. Okay. And at the same time, then the third part is with respect to clean energy. The clean energy was there in the news continuously due to West Asia, due to our favorite president. Okay. नाम तो सुना ही होगा, ठीक है. So what we see that due to all these reasons, these questions were there. First, what is distinguished between fast breeder and thermal nuclear reactor? Now, what you will do when we are writing the introduction of this, first, of course, we will mention the current thing which is going on. Okay, that now here there is two part. Either you can mention that India's first fast breeder reactor has recently achieved criticality, which is located in Kalpakkam. Okay, you can start with this. Or you can start with this, that India has made a goal of achieving 100 gigawatt of nuclear energy by 2047. So you can start with either of these two statements. You can directly mention about, the FBR at Kalpakkam. ये एक option हो सकता है, that we can go for mentioning about FBR at Kalpakkam. And second option can be that 100 gigawatt of nuclear energy by 2047. This is the aim of the country. So when you are starting the introduction, try to do something different. Try to do something different. वही नहीं कि जो सब लोग करेंगे वही नहीं करना है. Most of the people would have started with what is fast breeder reactor directly. So you can either give the context of this, that recently India's first fast breeder reactor has achieved criticality in Kalpakkam, which marks a shift in the Indian nuclear energy sector from first generation to second generation. Okay, ये first generation से second generation की तरफ move है. Now here if you want, suppose you are writing the answer on this page, ठीक है, तो if you have written the introduction here, आप चाहो तो यहाँ पे एक बना सकते हो कि we have first generation, second generation, third generation. If you want, just in a short, you can make this one thing, कि India is having 3 generational nuclear power plant. First gen, PHWR or PWR. Second generation, fast breeder reactor. And third generation is with respect to the thorium based reactors. So if you want, you can mention it here. Now the thing is, question is asking you, distinguish between two things. The normal, the traditional nuclear reactor plus fast breeder reactor. अब ऐसा क्वेश्चन है, बिल्कुल आप टेबल बनाओ, जैसा ओल्ड स्कूल, जैसा क्लास 10th में करते थे, कि we will make this table. On one side, we will see the parameters. Here we will have fast breeder reactor. Here we will have the thermal nuclear reactor. Okay. Now, if we are comparing them, how we will compare them? We will compare them on this part, that what is the fuel which is being used? What is the fuel? What is the moderator? Is there any such control rod or not? No, control rod will be common generally. Moderator. Okay. Fuel and moderator. Okay. Then neutron speed, then energy efficiency, and then waste product. 5 लेवल पे कंपेयर करेंगे, द वेस्ट प्रोडक्ट, द एनर्जी एफिशिएंसी, द न्यूट्रॉन, द मॉडरेटर, द फ्यूल. In case of fuel, we will see that in the thermal nuclear reactor, we are using a mix of natural uranium plus enriched uranium. या तो natural और enriched यूज करेंगे. Here we are using plutonium plus uranium 238. So in case of fast breeder reactor, we are making use of uranium 238 plus plutonium 239. In the case of thermal nuclear reactor, we are making use of what? We are using uranium 235 or uranium 238. पहला डिस्टिंग्विशन फ्यूल के बेसिस पे. सेकेंड पार्ट, मॉडरेटर. मॉडरेटर इज एब्सेंट. Okay. So here we see that moderator is absent. Here we see that moderator is there in form of heavy water or light water. आप चाहो तो coolant का भी कंपेयर कर सकते हो. In here we are using liquid sodium as coolant, and here we are using the heavy water as a coolant. ठीक है, तो कूलेंट भी अलग अलग होता है कि one case we are using heavy water, one case we are using liquid sodium. Then we will talk about neutron. Here we have fast moving neutron, here we have controlled movement of electron. Here we have high energy efficiency, here we have low energy efficiency. Here we have nuclear waste which is generated. Most of the nuclear waste is converted to fuel. तो एक जगह वेस्ट फ्यूल में कन्वर्ट हो जा रहा है, एक जगह रेडियो एक्टिव वेस्ट जनरेट हो रहा है. तो ऑन दीज 6 parameters you can compare the difference between this like fast breeder reactor and the thermal nuclear reactor. तो इनके बीच में हमें डिफरेंस करना है. तो do this the old school style that we will discuss about this, what is the difference between them. उसके बाद क्या क्वेश्चन था? The question is asking the second thing, that explain the term criticality. कि what is the meaning of the term criticality? तो criticality means, is it there in ICU? What is the meaning of criticality? Criticality एक ऐसा term है which you may have seen multiple times in case of nuclear power plant. If a nuclear power plant achieves criticality, it means now it is commercially producing electricity in a feasible manner, in a commercial feasible manner. It means we are providing input and the output is at least 10 times more than this, or generally more than the input. Okay. So when we are receiving more output, than the input which we are providing, then we say that now it is in a criticality phase where it is able to self sustain the reactions. कि जितनी एनर्जी चाहिए रिएक्शंस को कंटिन्यू करने के लिए, उससे कई गुना ज्यादा एनर्जी प्रोड्यूस हो रही है. So the energy from the nuclear reactor will be further used in order to continue the process of nuclear fission. So criticality को आपको डिफाइन करना है कि what is the meaning of criticality in terms of nuclear reactor. Okay. And then the question is asking this third part. तो ऐसा नहीं कि इन दोनों में ही पूरा वर्ड लिमिट खत्म कर देना है. That's why I have shared you. That's why I have told you this part, that make the table, and using the table you can compare that what is this fast breeder reactor and what is this thermal nuclear reactor. Then give this one part कि what is the meaning of criticality. इसको हमने explain किया. Now moving on, in the second page, it is asking the implications. अब देखो, it has cleverly given this word implications. Here the word is implications. Implications for clean energy future of our country. What are its implications for clean energy future of our country? Implication can be positive also, implication can be negative also. Okay. So it has wisely chosen this word. कई लोग क्या करेंगे इसमें सिर्फ ये बताएंगे कि हाँ now it will be better Now we will get more energy. We will not even be dependent on enriched uranium. So it is going to be good for us. But there is a challenge there also. We are still dependent on uranium supply. We are still dependent on uranium supply. And there are other challenges also, that are we able to replicate it at all the levels? Okay. So what we see, that question is asking implications. Question is asking the implications of it. So implication can be like two parts of it. One will be the positives, and then there can be some challenges. So what will be the positive part? That now we will also be using, natural uranium plus plutonium, and we don't have too much concern for this. Okay. So we will use uranium 238 plus plutonium. So we have lesser dependence on enriched uranium. Enriched uranium में challenge क्या है? The thing is, you have to use the centrifuge machine, and whenever you are using enrichment process, there is a chance that nuclear weapon can be developed from there. और उसी कारण कई बार दूसरे कंट्रीज जो है वो हमें न्यूक्लियर सप्लाई नहीं करते. तो if we are using them in fast breeder reactor, they will not have the challenge. तब उनको challenge नहीं होगा. The reason being, here we are not enriching the uranium. यहाँ पे हम uranium को enrich नहीं कर रहे हैं. तो it will be easier for us to get the supply of nuclear materials from outside. So this is one of the part, easy access to the fuel. Okay. Then we see that higher energy efficiency, that there is higher energy efficiency, plus at the same time we also see that why it is talking about future. The FBR is the precursor. It is the precursor to thorium based reactor. Once we have developed this fast breeder reactor, we can also move on towards thorium based reactor. And once we have got the here, it is going to be much more easier for us, क्योंकि हमारे पास सबसे अधिक कोई चीज है, तो that is thorium. Not just here, in the entire world, India is having the largest reserve of thorium. So if we reach to this stage after fast breeder reactor, it can be helpful for India because we have the largest reserves of thorium. So that will be one of the benefit which we see here as part of implication. But challenge will also remain. Challenge is also there. It is in a primitive stage. अभी ये बहुत ही early stage में है. So we need further promotion of it. In so many years means from 1960 to the present time. From 1960s to the present time, we have been able to develop just one fast breeder reactor. So it has been how many years? 66 years? Okay. It has been 65, 66 years, and we have been able to develop just one prototype fast breeder reactor. So we need to advance on a rapid scale. If we really want to use it, we have to advance it on a rapid scale. The first thing is the scale of it. The scale of it. At present, we are still dependent on uranium. We are still dependent on uranium 238, which we are not having. Okay. Plus, of course, there is one thing, the radio. There is a issue with respect to the disasters. There is an issue with respect to the disasters, the potential disasters which may take place. So there is always a risk with nuclear energy. So implication is this also. Plus public perception. Public perception, कि how people are perceiving the nuclear energy. अगर हम इसको future के asset के रूप में देख रहे हैं, तो we have to also evaluate whether people are ready to accept this as a future, as a future source of energy. Okay. तो ये हमारा इसका implications हो गया. And then we have to write this one part, conclusion. तब आपको कंक्लूजन लिखना है। हियर इफ यू वांट यू कैन मेंशन अबाउट द शांति एक्ट, अभी हाल फिलहाल में आया है। यू कैन गिव द मेंशन ऑफ द शांति एक्ट and you can mention that government is actively promoting and we also have the target. So you can add Shanti Act here, the Shanti Act here, plus the NDC, the nationally determined contribution, where we want to achieve 60% of energy from non-fossil sources by 2035. तो यहां पे आपको ऐसा नहीं लिखना है कि हाँ न्यूक्लियर एनर्जी बहुत अच्छा है, बहुत अच्छा है, इतना लिख के नहीं छोड़ना है। यू हैव टू कनेक्ट इट विद सम स्पेसिफिक थिंग्स दैट रिसेंटली द गवर्नमेंट हैज allowed private sector participation through Shanti Act, which is a positive step in this direction, and it will help India to achieve the targets of clean energy, target of 60% non-fossil energy by 2035. So we will not write simply कि हाँ nuclear energy is very good, nuclear energy is very good, we should go for it. We will write like this कि when we are talking about this, recently government of India through Shanti Act has allowed private sector investment in nuclear field, which might lead to pushing off the fast breeder reactors and may help India in attaining 60% energy by non-fossil sources by 2035. तो ये चीज दोनों को हम यहां पे कनेक्ट करेंगे इन द कंक्लूजन। तो इट हैज टू बी लाइक, इट हैज टू बी वेरी मच कॉन्क्रीट आंसर। सिंपल आंसर होता है कि हमने बस लिख दिया यस न्यूक्लियर एनर्जी इज वेरी गुड, फास्ट ब्रीडर रिएक्टर इज फास्ट एंड इट इज अ रिएक्टर, तो इट विल बी अ सिंपल आंसर। रिमेंबर वन थिंग, इफ क्वेश्चन इज सिंपल, आंसर हैज टू बी बेटर, आंसर हैज टू बी बेटर। So this is one thing which you have to keep in mind. If you are having simple question, you have to improve the representation. You have to improve your answer writing part. Okay. I hope clear. Okay. चलो अब आते हैं next part पे। तो we have this one thing again, mission दृष्टि। तो mission दृष्टि, I told you last day also that when we are talking about science tech exam, this year, out of the 4 question, 1 question is application based, the biotech part. 1 question is application based. And the 3 questions which are there, they are current affair based. Fast breeder reactor also, although we have read it in a static also, but it is part of current affairs also. It has been there in the news. Then we have the Drishti, mission Drishti, okay, Drishti Opto SAR satellite, and then we have the next one which is agentic AI. So agentic AI is a new thing, but it's not so much new also. We will see how it is not new. It has been there for quite some time, and we have discussed it also. I will show you that, don't worry. Okay. So we have this one thing called as mission Drishti. आपने सुना है इसके बारे में? नहीं, देखो, those who are on online, see, today we don't have the current affair classes because you may see that from the morning to the evening, to the night, to the midnight, we have paper discussion of different subjects going on. तो हर एक सब्जेक्ट का डिस्कशन हो रहा है, इसमें आप करंट अफेयर्स क्या ही देखोगे? तो ऑल द स्लॉट्स आर ऑलरेडी देयर which is having different paper discussion. So that's why we didn't have the classes of current affairs today, because I think on the Hindi channel also simultaneously a discussion is going on with respect to the mains paper. Okay. चलो अब आते हैं मिशन दृष्टि। तो how many of you know about this? Mission Drishti is a mission of a private startup. It is a mission of a private startup called as Galaxy I. It is a mission of a private startup called as Galaxy I. We have a company called as Galaxy I. This has launched a satellite. Like जब हम इसको लिखेंगे, देखो इस क्वेश्चन में कितने कितने पार्ट हैं. First is saying, mention the salient features of Mission Drishti. Then discuss the imaging technique used on the satellite, why it is being considered world's first satellite of its kind. Okay, why it is being considered as first satellite of its kind. Okay, so now see, First of all, we will mention about this कि what is the mission दृष्टि and what are its salient features. तो इंट्रोडक्शन यहां पे तो इससे ही स्टार्ट करना पड़ेगा कि what is mission दृष्टि. तो mission दृष्टि has been launched by a private company. Mission दृष्टि has been launched by a private company called as Galaxy I. They have launched this satellite using the launch vehicle of SpaceX, that is Falcon 9, in the month of May 2026. ठीक है, तो ये हमारा इंट्रोडक्शन होगा कि हाउ एंड हु हैज लॉन्च दिस. तो कंपनी प्लस व्हेन एंड हाउ दे हैव लॉन्च्ड इट, दैट वी विल गिव इन द इंट्रोडक्शन पार्ट. कि कब लॉन्च हुआ, किसके द्वारा लॉन्च हुआ, कौन सी कंपनी इन्वॉल्व थी, दैट विल बी द फर्स्ट पार्ट. दैट विल बी द फर्स्ट पार्ट. So this is one of the thing which we see here in the case of the Galaxy I. In the case of this one thing, that what is this mission Drishti, who has launched it, plus at the same time through which vehicle it has been launched. Okay, so this is the first part which we are going to do here. Okay, Galaxy I. अब देखो, अब इसका salient features क्या था? What was the speciality in this? What was the speciality in this? The speciality was this. अगर हम इसके features की बात करें, if we talk about this, the features, one of the feature was that it was having high resolution images throughout the daytime. First part was it was having a optical sensor or optical camera, which was taking a very high resolution image through the daytime. That was one part. So there is one thing called as high resolution image. We were having high resolution image through the daytime. Second feature was this, even during the night time, with the help of microwave radar impulses, it was able to see through the objects even during the night. So it was capturing images at night also. This was one part. Third part was even during the times of clouds, even during the time of monsoon, even during the time of like rainfall, it was able to capture the pictures. So bad weather imaging. One of the part was it was also able to do the bad weather imaging. That was the third part. Fourth part was it was one such thing which was taking both the images simultaneously. That it was having both these images simultaneously. Okay. So in fact, it can provide 24/7 all weather imaging. 24/7 all weather imaging. This was possible with the help of this Drishti Opto SAR mission. Okay. अब देखो ये क्वेश्चन कितने वर्ड्स में पूछा है आपको, पहले आप ये तो देखो 250 वर्ड्स पे. और दिस इज वेयर यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड कि सम टाइम यूपीएससी ट्रिक्स यू इन दिस पार्ट कि अब आपको थोड़ा मेहनत करनी पड़ेगी. You have to do a little bit extra effort. The reason being, अगर आप इसके टेक्निक्स की भी बात करोगे, there are only two types of camera. यहां पे भी आप बात करोगे ना सेकेंड पार्ट में कि why it is being considered world's first satellite of its kind, या what are the imaging techniques. तो यहां पे भी तो आपको दो ही इमेजिंग टेक्निक्स है ना. There is one synthetic aperture radar and there is this optical camera. तो इसको आप मान लो सिंथेटिक अपर्चर रडार को आप अच्छे से डायग्राम बना के एक्सप्लेन करोगे कि व्हाट इज सिंथेटिक अपर्चर रडार. यू विल मेंशन ऑप्टिकल इमेजिंग, वो तो सिंपल सा है, विच इज यूजिंग अ नॉर्मल वेव्स टू कैप्चर द फोटो. अगर हम इस पार्ट में भी आते हैं कि व्हाई इट इज बीइंग कंसिडर्ड वर्ल्ड्स फर्स्ट सैटेलाइट ऑफ इट्स काइंड, द रीजन बीइंग दैट इट इज द फर्स्ट सैटेलाइट हैविंग बोथ टाइप ऑफ इमेज टेकिंग, फर्स्ट सैटेलाइट विच इज इंटीग्रेटिंग AI in order to give a combined effect, first satellite to have 24/7 all weather imaging facility. तो यही 3 पॉइंट वहां पे भी बनेगा. So challenge is this, there is going to be repetition of the topics. So then when you have mentioned the salient features आपको यहां पे साथ में यह भी बताना होगा कि व्हाट कुड बी द पोटेंशियल एप्लीकेशन ऑफ दिस। आपको साथ में यह भी बताना होगा कि यू हैव टू ऑल्सो मेंशन द सेलिएंट लाइक द पोटेंशियल एप्लीकेशन, कहां कहां पे हम इसको अप्लाई कर सकते हैं। तो दिस इज अ वेदर ऑब्जर्वेशन, सॉरी दिस इज अ अर्थ ऑब्जर्वेशन सैटेलाइट। अब देखो यहीं पे आपका पार्ट आता है कि इफ यू हैव रेड स्टैटिक प्लस करंट then you can write this answer beautifully. If you have read both static part and current part, now you can use it. You can mention this one thing, potential application. In potential application, you can tell about this one thing, where we are going to use this. We are going to use this in weather forecasting, in agricultural forecast. We are going to use it for urban planning. We are using for wetland management. We are using it for forest management. We can use it for surveillance. We can use it for defense. Okay. So this is where you have to use the part. Yes, disaster management also. We can use it for the part of disaster management also. So this is where you have to use your knowledge of the foundation section. Once you have read in the foundation what is the application of satellites, और यहां पे आपको सिर्फ पूछा फीचर्स ऑफ दिस, एंड यू नो दैट यू हैव टू राइट इन 250 वर्ड्स. नाउ यू हैव टू ऐड समथिंग फ्रॉम योर साइड. कम से कम 3 पेज तो आपको भर के आना ही है इस आंसर में. ठीक है, यू हैव टू राइट इन 3 पेजेस. इट इज 250 वर्ड आंसर. तो फर्स्ट वी विल मेंशन व्हाट इज मिशन दृष्टि, फीचर्स ऑफ इट. देन वी विल मेंशन द पोटेंशियल एप्लीकेशन. अब 1 पेज पूरा होगा. In this part, we can fill 1 page. अब आते हैं दूसरे पेज पे. The second page will be about this thing कि imaging techniques which has been used. So what we see that first technique is quite simple. First technique is quite simple. It is the optical sensors. Optical sensors. This will be taking high resolution images. तो दिस विल बी प्रोवाइडिंग अस द डे टाइम इमेजिंग फैसिलिटी, कि डे टाइम में हमें बहुत ही बेहतर रेजोल्यूशन का फोटो यहां से मिलेगा. सो दिस इज समथिंग विच इज गोइंग टू फैसिलिटेट डे टाइम पिक्चर्स. फैसिलिटेट डे टाइम पिक्चर टेकिंग. तो दिस इज अ नॉर्मल पार्ट. एवरी सैटेलाइट इज ऑलमोस्ट हैविंग ऑप्टिकल सेंसर्स. ऑलमोस्ट most of the earth observation satellites, they are having optical sensors, so they will be able to take the photo. Okay, they will be able to give this high resolution image during the daytime. So during daytime they will have a very good imaging, very good imaging. Second part is the synthetic aperture radar. Now multiple times we have seen that how it works. Suppose that इसमें आप इमेज बना सकते हो. दिस इज वेयर यू हैव टू गेट द एक्स्ट्रा मार्क्स. दैट व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट द सिंथेटिक अपर्चर रडार, व्हाट वी सी दैट यू कैन मेक द इमेज दैट वी आर हैविंग अ सैटेलाइट. इट इज नॉर्मली हैविंग विजन ऑफ दिस पोजिशन A. When it is at position B, it is still having the image of this. When it is at position C, here it is at position C, then also it is taking the image of this area. So basically, even when the satellite is moving, it is still capturing a wider area. It is still capturing a wider area. That is the meaning of synthetic aperture radar. Here, first, there is no such dependence on the light. There is no such dependence on the light. They will be using the microwaves in order to get the image. That's why they can see even in the night time. तो रात में भी देख सकते हैं, बादल में भी देख सकते हैं. तो during the night time also they can see. During the inclement weather condition also they can see it. Second thing is they are using a synthetic aperture radar. Synthetic means artificial. So a camera is having a normal aperture. Okay, aperture means its area of coverage. It's area of coverage. So like you all have your mobile phones having different resolution. Okay, so you are having a normal resolution. ठीक है, उसमें 0.5x में आप वाइड एंगल फोटो ले सकते हो ना 0.5x में। तो इन द सेम मैनर consider this that when you are moving from one place to another place, the camera is capturing the image from there to the entire portion. That is what we see in synthetic aperture radar, that it will be still able to receive the signals from all these areas. So here we see that we have the synthetic aperture radar, that is the second portion. Now at the same time we have to use the third portion, use of AI to integrate both images, and this is going to be done real time automatic integration. So these are the three major features which we see in the case of this Drishti mission. In the case of this Drishti mission, these are the three major features. पहला feature तो of course है कि optical sensor part. Second feature is the synthetic aperture radar, and the third feature is that we are having a integrated approach, a integrated generation of the image. तो ये तीन चीजें हैं जो हम इसके इस पार्ट में बताएंगे. Of course you will have to make the diagram. इसमें आपको डायग्राम बनाना होगा, and you have to show it that how it works. अगर आप ये नहीं दिखाते हो तो फिर मार्क्स क्यों देगा? ठीक है, तो then second part will be this. The third part of the answer is this one, कि why it is first of its kind in the world. Why it is called as first of its kind in the world. कि पूरे वर्ल्ड में ऐसा पहली बार क्यों ऐसा हमें देखने को मिल रहा है? तो it is first of kind. Why? It integrates this opto plus SAR. The optical imaging plus synthetic aperture radar imaging, which is not found in any other satellites as of now. That is first part. Second thing, even if we are having it, like suppose that we are still getting images of day and night, but then it is not automatically created. We get feed from different satellite and then we merge them together. ठीक है, तो अभी भी हमारे पास merging होती है, but then we receive from different satellite. So at present what we see that we don't have a single satellite which can provide both kind of merged images. Okay, so here we see that real time, here we see that this is the first one which is providing a real time merger of the images. This is the second part. The third part is again, most of the satellites, they are working either in the daytime or the night time. Most of them are not functional in all weather conditions. But this is the first satellite in the world to have 24/7 all weather working. So that's why it was famous. Okay. So then you will mention about these three things कि एक तो integrate करता है optical plus SAR को, second part real time integration, and third part is the first one in the world to have 24/7 365 days update about the 365 days imaging of the earth. तो ये सभी चीजों को आप यहां पे बताओगे कि व्हाट वाज बीइंग डन विद द हेल्प ऑफ दिस दृष्टि ऑप्टो SAR. और जब आप कंक्लूजन लिखोगे तो क्या बताओगे? व्हाट विल बी देयर इन द कंक्लूजन? कंक्लूजन में स्टोरी तो बताओ कि उसके बाद हुआ क्या. The final story was this: geomagnetic storm. The geomagnetic storm has led to the destruction of this one satellite. That this was the first of its kind of satellite in the entire world. However, due to an unfortunate incident or accident, this satellite no longer exists. But yes, it provides a motivation, or it provides an inspiration for the other satellites in the future. We know that the satellite can be made. So one satellite has been destroyed, we can create multiple new satellites. Okay. So it provides that inspiration for creation of those new satellites of a similar nature. Okay. तो ये चीज हमें लिखना है इस क्वेश्चन के आंसर में. इसका लास्ट का भी तो बताना पड़ेगा ना कि क्या हुआ. We cannot leave it to the part that it is still working. It has been destroyed. Okay. So it was launched in May, destroyed in July, question in August. Okay. So May, June, July, August, 4 months, and continuously in the news. So that was the third question. Now coming to the fourth one, agentic AI. Agentic AI. Okay. Now why this question was there? आपने एक नाम सुना होगा, Mythos AI. Have you heard about this? Mythos AI. Have you heard about this one term, Mythos AI? No. So it means you are not reading newspaper. That is the only logical explanation of this. If you have been unaware about Mythos AI, it means you have not read newspaper in the last 6 months. क्योंकि एक बार दो बार नहीं आया है. There has been at least 10 to 20 full scale coverage of this one topic. Full scale coverage means sometimes you will find that in Hindu newspaper or Indian Express newspaper on one page, not just in one small editorial, on one page, there is full discussion over this Mythos AI. There has been all type of articles, not just in Hindu. In Hindu also, in Indian Express also, Times of India also, Live Mint also, Dainik Jagran also. Okay. And not just in India, across the world, Mythos AI is famous. Why Mythos AI is famous? This is one such AI system which can find loopholes in any software, in any website, in any application, in any server, in just a few seconds. What hackers can do in like tens of days, months, can be achieved by this one AI system within a few seconds. So that's why it has become very much popular. It has become very much popular across the world. Itna popular ki now this is the largest company of AI in the world. Anthropic is the biggest company in the world right now. Okay. जितने भी छोटे छोटे कंपनी ओपन एआई और बाकी सब आए थे, they were growing at a rate, they were also having boom. But when Anthropic was launched, Anthropic launched Mythos AI. At present, Anthropic is the largest AI company, largest tech company, in fact, in the entire world. Okay. So that's why this question is there. ऐसा नहीं कि random आ गया है कहीं से भी. Anthropic is the biggest company in the world right now, just because of this one model called Mythos AI. Okay. And this is a agentic AI. Agentic AI. So what is the meaning of agentic AI? Normal AI system, like suppose chat GPT, उसको आप बोले इस क्वेश्चन का आंसर लिखना है, उसमें भी वो गलती ही करेगा. ठीक है. If you try to write the answer of this one question, that what is agentic AI, explain its working, describe its application, ये सभी prompt देने के बाद भी chat GPT will make mistake. आपको यूपीएससी के हिसाब से नहीं लिखेगा. On the other hand, we have the agentic AI, which doesn't require the prompts. It works automatically. Okay. Agentic AI is a type of AI which will work on an automation basis. They will work by themselves. They will plan, they will execute, they will monitor, and they will try to achieve a desired result. Just suppose that if you have said to agentic AI, I want to open a company. I want to open a company which will be doing the import and export business from India. So this agentic AI, it will search for all the required things. It will automatically execute all these tasks. Like it will send emails, it will file for GST, it will file for all other things. It will plan, it will execute, it will monitor, it will give responses, and it will finally achieve the goal. That is what is agentic AI. तो एजेंटिक एआई इज वन सच सिस्टम विच वर्क्स ऑन अ फुल ऑटोमेशन. Means you tell them that this is the goal and then sit and relax. Everything will be the responsibility of AI. तो पहला तो ये हुआ कि what is the working mechanism. Okay. First, what is agentic AI which works on automation? How it works? It automatically carries out all the works. It will be the one planning. It will be the one which will be executing it step by step. It will be monitoring it. It will be giving the responses, giving the feedback, and ultimately it will try to achieve the goal. Okay. जब आपको इसका आंसर लिखना है, and here it is saying explain its working, do explain it with the help of flow chart. ऐसा सिंपल लिख के नहीं कि पूरा पैराग्राफ लिखेंगे, लंबी चौड़ी कहानी. Once upon a time there was a agentic AI system in a kingdom, and then agentic AI was one day going to market. So agentic AI decided we have to purchase something. और इस तरह से कहानी नहीं बनाना है. Make a proper flow chart in order to show this how the agentic AI works. How the agentic AI works. तो पहले explain करेंगे. That will be the introduction. Second part will be we will explain the working. Then describe its application. कि कहां पे हम इसका यूज कर सकते हैं. Where we can use it. We can use it in multiple dimensions. सबको आपको देखो ये 250 वर्ड में बहुत अच्छा मौका है आपके पास लिखने का. Take each and every section that when we are talking about agriculture, it can help in executing multiple tasks. Okay. Let's suppose we are talking about farming within an area. It will be doing this one task. It can find the suitable seeds. It can order the suitable seeds. It can find the manures. It can find the suitable sprays. It can find the right crop and conditions. It will tell you about the market condition. It will help you in sowing the crop and finally selling the crop at the best place. In case of industry, it can automate the entire manufacturing process. In the case of service sector also, it can automate the entire client-based part. In education, we can have exams conducted by it, जिसमें leak ना हो, ठीक है. In education system also, we can have exams conducted by it. In the case of health, it can be used to monitor a patient. If a patient is suffering from a lifelong chronic disease, it can be using the sensors in order to track the activity. It can give timely reminder for medication. It can give timely reminder for tests. It can give or prescribe diets, and it can monitor all these things. It can also send the reports to the healthcare systems or healthcare professionals on behalf of the person. कि मान लो कोई अकेले रहता है. Suppose we are having a geriatric population rise. We are having a old age population rise. उनको केयर करने के लिए if we are using agentic AI. So agentic AI can work on this part, that they will be completely monitoring the health of a person. तो application describe करो अच्छे से. Take 4-5 examples. Take the example of health. Take the example of education. Take the example of industry, services, agriculture, governance. And make flow charts in a proper manner. कि क्या क्या ये काम कर सकता है. This is one such answer. This is one such question in which you can make a very excellent answer. इसमें आप बहुत ही अच्छा आंसर लिख सकते हो. Because the question is asking for it. कि हाँ आप इसको अच्छे से एक्सप्लेन करो. Explain all the mechanism. तो agentic AI, explain the working, describe it with suitable examples. Now discuss the advantages, risks and challenges. तो again थोड़ा सा overlapping part होगा, but you can explain that what may be the possible advantages and what can also be the challenges with respect to this. ठीक है. So this is one thing which you have to write. और देखो जब भी आप चैलेंज लिखोगे, चैलेंज विल बी लाइक प्राइवेसी इशू, डोमिनेशन ऑफ अ फ्यू कंपनीज, ओवर इन लाइक इट विल ऑल्सो लीड टू अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट एट अ मास स्केल. जब सभी काम यही कर लेंगे तो हम लोग क्या करेंगे? तो फिर तो आप मुझे बोलोगे नहीं कि सर आप पढ़ाओ, हम एआई से आंसर लिख लेते हैं. That we will prepare science with AI. We will prepare science with AI, science and tech with AI, current affairs with AI. We will write answers also, solve questions also, है ना? So then it can become a challenge, but then they will not be able to make that humor also in the class. No, उसका limitation है. That AI system has a limitation. ठीक है, और ह्यूमर भी बनाएगा तो ऐसा ह्यूमर बनाएगा जिसपे हंसी नहीं आती है. I asked ChatGPT to create multiple jokes. आज तक मुझे कभी भी ChatGPT के जोक्स पे हंसी नहीं आई है, वो खुद ही हंस लेता है. तो I have asked this ChatGPT multiple times to create a joke, but it has never been funny. So that is one part where AI lacks. इसमें कहां ही कर पाएंगे, है ना? So discuss this one part, the risk and challenges with respect to this. Okay, and once you have mentioned the challenges, you have to mention the solution also. You have to mention the solution also. Now see, when we talk about the agentic AI, what we will need? We will need one thing, that is digital literacy in India for the people. Then we will need a better regulatory framework. We need to also enhance the capacity of the workers, plus global participation. चार चीजों पे आप फोकस कर सकते हो. There can be a focus on these four things. कि first, we have to empower our citizens. We have to make them digitally literate, to understand what is AI, to be able to use AI system. Okay, so that is one thing which we require. Second thing, a regulatory framework. Okay, we have to also add this part that regulations should be proper. We should not go to the erstwhile age of 1850s. कि Telegraph Act को ही हम चलाएंगे. That we cannot go back to 1850s or 1890s or 1900. The laws of that time are no longer relevant. Even the Digital Personal Data Protection Act of 2023, it is not that much suitable for AI. So we need to update the rules on a regular basis. Then we also need to build the capacity. We also need to build the capacity. Like, it should not be like this. On one side we are progressing toward agentic AI, and then you are going to a police station and saying there has been a cyber crime. They are asking what is cyber. ठीक है, कि आप मान लो पुलिस स्टेशन गए, साइबर क्या होता है पहले आप बताओ. अच्छा इसमें ऐसा होता है. ठीक है, तो it should not be that. We have to build our capacity, our computer systems, our response system. All these things have to be built. So this is capacity building part, and then this is not a unilateral problem for one country. This is a global challenge. It is a global challenge. And for AI system, we need a global solution. AI system के लिए global solution चाहिए. So this is four things which you can put here. And then when you are writing the conclusion, सबसे best option है conclusion लिखने का. You can highlight the Fab 2026 AI Impact Summit in India. Okay, सबसे अच्छा कंक्लूजन लिखने का आपके पास ऑप्शन है कि India has already been working with global partners and at national level in the spirit of the India AI Impact Summit conducted in Fab 2026. ठीक है, तो try to relate with the things which are going on. जो क्वेश्चन है यहीं पे तो आपको मौका मिलता है कि साल भर जो आपने पढ़ा है उससे रिलेट करना है. तो दैट इज वन थिंग विच यू हैव टू डू. नहीं, रिस्क चैलेंजेस सब एक ही साथ कर दो. अलग अलग कहां कहां करोगे इसमें. ठीक है, इतना आपको स्पेस ही नहीं मिलेगा. ठीक है, तो रिस्क एंड चैलेंजेस ट्राई टू मेंशन देम इन वन पार्ट. ठीक है, तो देखो, नाउ लेट मी टेल यू अबाउट दिस वन थिंग. ये क्यों आया था? वैसे तो बहुत सारे आर्टिकल्स थे, बट वी हैव दिस वन थिंग अबाउट AI, and you will find that we have discussed this entire thing, that what is agentic AI. In the editorial sessions which we are having, we have discussed this entire thing, that what is agentic AI, why the experts are fearing. They can independently plan and execute cyber operation. They can gain capabilities which were only to the nation states. क्या क्या risks हैं, ये सभी चीजें इसमें आपको मिलेंगे. देयर इज एडिशनल कंसर्न्स ऑल्सो. एआई सिस्टम क्या क्या मिलिट्री इंप्लीकेशंस हो सकता है. इट कैन बी अ सोर्स ऑफ मिलिट्री पावर, इकोनॉमिक डोमिनेंस, जियोपॉलिटिकल इन्फ्लुएंस. It can help in all these things. Autonomous weapons are also emerging. So this is one thing which we see that we have discussed in our editorial sessions also. Ki what is agentic AI? Why there is a concern with respect to this? Okay. So this is something which we have discussed in the end of July. July के last में ये topic आया था. I think on 29th of July we have discussed this one topic. Okay. So mythos was there from the beginning. So mythos was there from the beginning. Multiple times it has been there. The reason being mythos is agentic AI. तो पहले वो सिर्फ mythos AI चलता था. Then other systems also started to emerge. So that's why the focus was on a broader part, agentic AI. Okay. So देखो, this is the 4 questions. These are the 4 questions of your science and tech portion. That first was about this one thing, biotech. Second part was about this second aspect, fast breeder reactor. Third part is with respect to mission drishti, and the fourth portion was there with respect to this agentic AI. Okay. So these were the 4 dimensions which we have seen with respect to your science and tech question paper. What questions have been there? There is traditional question also, modern question also. Okay. So those who are watching online also, so this was our part of the discussion of the paper. Okay. So do take you have to go through the same strategy next year also. It's not that there is a change in anything. The same concept, we have the static portion plus at the same time we have the current portion. So we have to be updated with both of them. Okay. So for online students, that will be all for today. Enjoy, watch other sessions. Now we will meet exclusively with the offline students. So bye bye everyone in online. Okay. So online वालों का बंद कर. So that will be all. We will meet you in the next session on YouTube. So thank you everyone. Bye. Okay. आप लोग बैठो. नहीं, you have to maintain the sequence. देखो एक चीज याद रखना, when the question is asking you in a pattern, in a sequence, do not break that sequence. The reason being, जैसे मैं एक जगह आपको दिखाता हूं. Let's see this one question. मिशन दृष्टि, ठीक है. Here it is asking the salient features. ठीक है. हम लोग चाहते तो ऐसा भी कर सकते थे. First, what is दृष्टि? What are the technologies there? Then we could write the salient features. But no. The question is asking salient features first, so write salient features first. अगर आप sequence change करोगे, वो number का sequence change कर देंगे. तो never change the sequence in the examination. कभी भी नहीं. If they ask you in a particular sequence, always answer in that sequence. चाहे भले ही आपको अटपटा लगे, but you have to answer in that. ठीक है. तो do not change that sequence. ठीक है. तो आपने भी साइंस एंड टेक का क्वेश्चन देख लिया है. ठीक है. See, we have discussed the NCERT part in your batch, physics, chemistry, and bio. Okay. When we will be meeting in the next time, अभी तो आपका NCERT का कुछ portions बाकी होगा. I think Rajvardhan sir is going to come for environment perhaps. ठीक है. तो ask for health tips from him, how he's so slim and thin. Okay. So I met him in Patna. There also, he was there in the classes, and I was also there. So I asked him like, how you are able to maintain this much? Like, he is very much fit and fine. You have seen Rajvardhan sir or not? नहीं देखा आपने? YouTube पे आप देख लेना. And then he will be coming for the environment part. After me, I think he is coming, and then perhaps economic classes will be there. For साइंस एंड टेक. साइंस एंड टेक तो बाद में होगा ना अभी. लाइक आफ्टर द साइंस, आफ्टर द साइंस वी विल हैव साइंस एंड टेक लेटर, ठीक है. तो व्हेन वी विल हैव साइंस एंड टेक अराउंड वी हैव 7 + 7 around 20-22 classes. Okay, that will be the science and tech portion, the prelims plus mains part. Okay, so there we will meet again. Okay, any question, any doubt? नहीं. देखो, let me tell you one thing. आपके पहले का जो बैच था, जो प्रयागराज में जो फाउंडेशन बैच था आपके पहले का, in the case of science and tech, they have written 50+ answers of mains. ठीक है, उन्होंने 50 से ऊपर आंसर्स लिखे मेंस के. तो व्हेन वी विल स्टार्ट दिस पार्ट ऑफ फाउंडेशन, आपको भी लिखना होगा. एंड मैं इसलिए बोल रहा हूं कि राइट नाउ आई एम नॉट हैविंग द कॉपी, आई विल शो यू दिस वन थिंग. ये जो क्वेश्चन है ना बायोटेक का, दे हैव ऑलरेडी रिटन दैट इन द क्लास कि व्हाट इज द एप्लीकेशन ऑफ बायोटेक इन द एग्रीकल्चर एट डिफरेंट स्टेजेस. ठीक है, तो फ्रॉम ऑल दीज स्टेजेस वी हैव ऑलरेडी सॉल्व क्वेश्चंस. So this is what you have to do. Even if we talk about the Shanti Act and if we talk about the nuclear, so they have written about nuclear also. They have written about this part like satellite question. जो satellite question था जो GS paper 1 में आया था, ये how the satellite can help in agriculture. So they have written answers for that also. तो आपके पहले वाले बैच ने 50 से ऊपर आंसर लिखा है सिर्फ साइंस एंड टेक में मेंस का. तो लास्ट डे ऑल्सो आई हैव लाइक टुडे इटसेल्फ आई हैव रिटर्न बैक अ कॉपी ऑफ वन ऑफ द स्टूडेंट जिन्होंने पहले लिखा था और उनका कॉपी मैं देख नहीं पाया था. तो देन दे हैव रिटन लाइक मोर देन 50-60 आंसर्स एंड दे हैव गॉट इट लाइक चेक्ड ऑल्सो ऑन अ रेगुलर बेसिस. तो इसमें तो आपका कुछ मेंस का पार्ट नहीं है, बट व्हेन वी विल स्टार्ट मेंस पार्ट यू हैव टू राइट एंड देन वी विल बी मीटिंग हियर ऑल्सो. यू कैन शो मी द आंसर ऑल्सो कि आपने क्या लिखा है क्या नहीं लिखा है. So there, here also I have tried to explain you something. कि when you are writing the answer, question is always going to be simple. यहाँ पे बहुत ज्यादा analyze, critically analyze, ये सब कीवर्ड नहीं आते. I have shown you earlier also. Friday को भी मैंने दिखाया था कि question will be in this manner. Application. Application पे question आया इस बार भी. The same thing goes every year. If this year it is for biotech, next year it can be from nanotech. Next year it can be from a space tech. Next year it can be a space communication technology. Okay, so there will be question on application, question on current things. So current things के लिए I think many of you are not aware about this. देखो, we are having one class in the morning. We are having this one class in the morning at 8:15. या अभी 8 बजे से भी हो सकता है बिकॉज देर इज क्लास एट 9. तो इट कैन बी एट 8 और 8:15. 8 या 8:15 से होगी क्लासेस एंड दिस इज देयर ऑन यूट्यूब. KGS IAS English. Okay. So on this channel you will find that we are having that editorial session. तो आपने जो देखा ना कि agentic AI and others, so these were the topics which we have discussed even in part of our editorial sessions. तो साइंस एंड टेक में भी कुछ नया होता है, इट कम्स इन द एडिटोरियल पार्ट. दैट्स वाई वी रीड हिंदू और इंडियन एक्सप्रेस कि वहां पे भी ये चीजें आती हैं. Okay. तो दिस इज वन थिंग विच यू गेट इन इंग्लिश. देन देर इज दिस वन थिंग KGS IAS हिंदी चैनल. ठीक है, तो देखो अभी तक till today, just because of your classes, the classes were at 3:45. But कल के बाद से this class will be at there at 6 PM. ठीक है, जिस समय आपकी क्लास चलती रहती है. ठीक है, तो you are already having classes at that time. बहुत अच्छा चीज है. आप बाद में रिकॉर्डेड देखो, 2x पे देखना. ठीक है, तो you can watch it at 2x. 30 मिनट्स में कंप्लीट हो जाएगा. तो दैट इज वन बेनिफिट. मैं धीरे धीरे बोलता ही हूं. यू कैन वॉच इट एट 2x. ठीक है, तो यू कैन वॉच इट एट 2x और 30 मिनट्स में कंप्लीट हो जाएगा. तो देयर ऑल्सो विल फाइंड दैट ऑन अ रेगुलर बेसिस वी आर हैविंग 4 और 5 टॉपिक्स. ठीक है, तो वी आर हैविंग 4-5 टॉपिक्स. तो साइंस एंड टेक के जितने अपडेट है वो आपको वहां पे भी मिलेंगे. लाइक वी आर डिस्कसिंग साइंस एंड टेक, इकोनॉमी, पॉलिटी, एवरीथिंग. So science and environment, these are two subjects which are largely based on current affairs. Okay, लार्जली बेस्ड ऑन करंट अफेयर्स। तो आपको करंट और स्टैटिक दोनों को ध्यान रखना होता है। तो दिस इज फ्रॉम माई साइड। अब आपके साइड से कोई क्वेश्चन है तो बताओ। नहीं है? जस्ट लेट मी शो यू वन थिंग हेयर। इस पे यूट्यूब चलेगा? नहीं चलेगा ना? अच्छा, ओके। देखो, इफ यू विल सी द सेशन, यू विल फाइंड दिस वन थिंग कि इफ यू आर टॉकिंग अबाउट एनी टॉपिक, if we are talking about any of the topic, like let's say suppose any topic was there recently, there was one topic in the news, helicase. Okay, there was this one topic in the news, helicase. Okay, what is helicase? Helicase is an enzyme which helps in separation of the DNA. जैसे हमने देखा था ना कि DNA is made into two parts, ठीक है, या DNA copies itself. तो we have seen in this case कि what is the role of helicase for this part. तो this is one thing which can come in your examination also, कि helicase enzyme is there in the news, so it might be asked in the examination. तो आपको लगेगा कि ये तो static में था, but in actual it is also part of current as well. Okay, तो static में जो चीज आपको नहीं मिल पा रही है, if there is something in the news, तो we discuss it there. और इसमें आप देखोगे, अगर आप नोट्स देखोगे उसका, तो it is single liner notes. It is single liner notes. It's not going to be too much complicated, too much long notes. एकदम single line में notes लिखे होंगे. In fact, in the editorial session also, जैसे ये तो वो पार्ट है editorial का जो आपको notes के फॉर्मेट में होता है. But in the actual session, I write everything on the board. और जो लिखा हुआ होता है वही सिर्फ आपको नोट करना है. So in one day you will find that in the editorial also you are having 1 or 2 pages. In the case of this current affairs also you are having 1 or 2 pages. So monthly you are having maximum 40 pages for the current affairs part. Okay, फिर आप सोचोगे साल भर में तो 400-500 पेजेस हो गए, इतना तो पढ़ना पड़ेगा ना। 500 से ऊपर तो लक्ष्मीकांत की बुक है, एंड देयर आर 15 क्वेश्चंस फ्रॉम लक्ष्मीकांत मैक्सिमम। तो 500 पेजेस के नोट्स, उसमें कितने टॉपिक रिपीट भी होंगे, एंड यू आर गेटिंग मोर देन 20 क्वेश्चंस फ्रॉम देयर। तो आपको ये क्यों लगता है कि करंट अफेयर के जो नोट्स है वो 10 पेज में आ जाएंगे, कि ओनली 20 टॉपिक्स वही बता दीजिए सर जो एग्जाम में आ रहा है प्रीलिम्स में। तो बायो में मैंने आपको स्टार्टिंग का पोर्शन तो बहुत सारा क्वेश्चन करा दिया है। ओके, आई विल सेंड वन टेस्ट टू द टीम, वो आपका टेस्ट ही करा देंगे तो आपको और अच्छे से याद हो जाएगा। हाँ, आई विल गिव द क्वेश्चन। नहीं नहीं, आई हैव ऑल्सो गिवन द क्वेश्चंस फॉर द प्रीवियस बैचेस, तो मेरे पास होगा क्वेश्चन, आई विल सेंड दैट। ठीक है, तो दैट विल बी मिक्स ऑफ फिजिक्स, केमिस्ट्री, बायो, अराउंड 50 क्वेश्चंस विल बी देयर। करंट अफेयर्स, ठीक है। एनी अदर क्वेश्चन? और कुछ नहीं ना? चलो, तो ऑल द बेस्ट। आप लोग से फिर मिलते हैं अगले साल। तो इस साल मैं अब कहां आऊंगा? सॉरी, क्या चीज? फोटो बंद कर लेते हैं वो रिकॉर्डिंग तब। तो दैट विल बी ऑल। थैंक यू एवरीवन, टेक केयर।